Happy New Year, guys, and welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. I'm going to do something a little different to usual, and it's only for this round of readings, so bear with me. And I'm recording this as an intro to all of the videos that I'm doing for the beginning of January. If this isn't your bag and you want to skip straight to the reading, have a look at the timestamp in the comment box down there. And the chances are, if you need to skip ahead to the reading without listening to what I had to say, then you're probably not the people that this is addressed to anyway, so it's fine. No shade, and I'm not even slightly offended. You know, you do you. It's all cool. But I have a few things that I wanted to say, and I kind of feel quite strongly that I do need to say this. The first off, I want to express extreme gratitude for waiting for me, because I know that these readings are late, and I'm very grateful to you for that. But also just for being here and joining me. The last 6 months have been a bit of a wild ride, and my life has changed in quite a lot of ways, and you guys are definitely part of that, and I don't think that you quite have any idea how much you've changed my life, so I love it. The reason the videos are late is because Christmas holiday was quite enlightening for me in a lot of ways, as well as the usual stresses and pressures of, you know, the holiday season and whatnot, and having, you know, 5 children, and trying to make special that time, as special as possible that time. I also had some fairly extreme kind of planetary stuff going on, which I wasn't really aware of until it was brought to my attention, and I was quite oblivious to the effects of right up until about, I don't know, the turn of the year. And then it all hit me in kind of like 48 hours. So Peter, if you are watching, all the stuff that you told me suddenly made all sorts of sense. It was kind of an ascension of sorts, and I was panicking a little bit about getting the videos uploaded and all that kind of thing. And then it struck me that what I actually really needed to do was rest and kind of recover from the transformations that had been occurring. So I took time to do that, and I'm sorry if these videos being late negatively affects anyone, but I feel like you will probably understand. So thank you. What else do I have to tell you? I think that's probably just about everything. But I wanted to just record the intro and say, you know, thank you so much for waiting, for subscribing, for watching, for your donations, for your personal reading bookings. And I kind of got slammed with those over Christmas as well. It was a period of about a week where I was getting 15, 20 requests a day, and I am going to work my way through all of those. But with everything else that was going on, it was a little bit overwhelming, and I really needed to retreat. So that's what I've done. But I'm back. And I'm so excited for 2020, I can't even tell you. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you very, very much. I'm extremely grateful for all of you. That's what I was going to say. When you're recording videos and you're saying the same thing over and over again, it starts to feel less authentic. To me anyway. So knowing that I had 12 videos to do, and that I wanted to kind of express this to you all, I wanted to do it once in the spirit that I feel it, without it just becoming a kind of repetitive thing that I'm saying over and over again and starts to lose its feeling over time. So that's what I've done, and it'll only be for this month. Next month it'll be back to usual blather. Yeah, on with your reading. Hi Cancer. Welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. This is going to be a general reading for the Sun of Cancer. Sun, Moon and Ascendant. So welcome. If you sat through my rambling message at the beginning there, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I had to get that off my chest. If not, Nibbles. It's fine. My Venus is Cancer, by the way, just in case you were wondering. And I feel compelled to tell you about the lunar eclipse that's happening this evening. I think it's going to be visible from, well, at its peak, from about 7:10 this evening. But I think the moon is moving into Cancer over this weekend. So there's a likelihood of intensified emotions and such things. So I don't know. I'm not an astrologer, but I read this and I found it interesting. So I'm preparing to be an emotional mess over the weekend. I hope not. That would be awful, but you know. Never mind. So, 3 cards for Cancer, please, for the month of January. 3 cards for Cancer. Ooh, that's the first one, 8 of Wands. It's a Sagittarian card. It speaks of messages. Swift incoming communication. We've got Temperance. That's the card of Sagittarius as well. Sagittarius has been ambling around a lot in these readings. Like Taurus's was absolutely stamped all over by Sagittarius. I'm just going to show you that because it flipped. It's the Magician. But it didn't come out, so I'm not going to take it. It talks about manifest. For fuck's sake. We've got the Wheel of Fortune at the bottom, which is also the card of Sagittarius. So there you go. If I can just shuffle that in, actually. There we go. I have one more card for Cancer. That's the one. Oof. The Tower. It's a card of Scorpio. Don't panic. It's all good. At the bottom of the deck now, we've got the Hierophant. It's a card of Taurus. It speaks of commitment and learning and all sorts of things. All sorts of cool things like that. Right. Let's get some clarifiers. And then we'll get stuck in. The deck I'm using to clarify today is the Marigold deck, which my son bought me for Christmas. He saw it on Kickstarter and thought it would be exactly my bag, and it is exactly my bag. Not only is it black, which is delicious, and quite unusual for tarot cards, but it's all about death, and it's got skeletons all over it, so I love it. Boy, did good. I'm actually thinking about doing a flick through video. Because I have some really amazing decks, and they're not all of them that well known. So if you're interested in tarot cards, maybe keep an eye on the channel, because that'll be one for the nerds, the tarot nerds, of which I am one, obviously. So what's this 8 of Wands here for Cancer? What's this 8 of Wands? We have the Hanged Man. Oh, I don't like that. Not with the 8 of Wands. Right. 8 of Wands. And the Queen of Rings, which is the Queen of Pentacles in the standard deck. She's been coming out a lot as well, actually. I think she's made an appearance in probably 2/3 of the readings that I've been doing. That's good. It's good energy. Where's Temperance here, please? The 10 of Rings. That's awesome. That's complete material fulfillment, really, amongst other things. It also speaks of commitment and stuff, which is interesting because we've got the Hierophant there. I picked that card up and put it back in because I don't take them when they fall to the right, because it means I've just dropped them because I've been cat-handed. It's Temperance here. 8 of Wands. Again, interesting. And finally the Tower. Let's see what this is all about. Why is the Tower here for Cancer, please? Why is the Tower here for Cancer? For the month of January. Proper catapulted out. A little twirl as well. We've got the Ace of Cups. That's new love, or renewal of love for someone or something. for yourself. That's how I hear these. Justice. It's a card of Libra in the Major Arcana. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Six of Wands. That's good. It's a card of Leo. Talks about conspicuous public victory. Right. I think I might end up pulling another couple of cards for this, but we'll go here where we are. So the first card that you've got is the Eight of Wands, and like I said, this is swift incoming communication. Now, it may involve a Sagittarian, it may not. I broadly feel that that's probably irrelevant at this point, but it's in your recent past. It's kind of recent past touching on the present, right? And the wands are coming in like that way and that way, okay? And they're equal. You can see that. You can tell the direction they're travelling in because they've got the new buds on the tip, right? This is communication between two people. So you've been communicating with someone fairly frequently and fairly directly, I would say. Okay. And I'm drawn to this one stag that all the others are kind of not paying attention, but this one stag in the background that's a bit like, it's looking directly at me as I'm looking at the card. And I get a sense of being watched from it, actually, is the thing. You know, it's back in the background. It's not really that obvious because your eye is drawn immediately to the wands. But it's there and it's keeping an eye on things. Somebody might have been paying a bit more attention than you had initially anticipated. But it's clarified by the Hanged Man and the Queen of Rings. The reason that I said I didn't like the Hanged Man particularly was because waiting was what I heard when it fell to the table. And when I saw it, that was what I heard. There's been communication going between you that was very regular, it was very consistent, it was very direct. And I feel like it's stopped. Because the Hanged Man is the most passive card in the deck. You know, it's based on the legend of Odin. Put himself upside down on the Tree of Knowledge for like 9 days to see the world from a different perspective. But in order to do that, he had to submit. He had to do it voluntarily and then wait until an appropriate amount of time had elapsed for that knowledge to take root in his head and for him then to cut himself down and see the world, you know, with this new perspective, with this new wisdom, all of this kind of thing. But it makes me feel like the communication stopped abruptly and you've been kind of hanging around waiting for it to restart, because I feel like there's an element of confusion to it as well. And then we've got the Queen of Rings. Now, it's the Queen of Pentacles in the standard deck, and usually that is it's a very soft and it's a very nurturing energy. But she's very abrasive, very aggressive in this depiction here. Now, this could be a Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn in your environment. It doesn't have to be a woman, because tarot doesn't give a shit about gender. It's the energy. But this woman looks really, I mean, she's a skeleton, so she doesn't actually have a facial expression. But the position that the skeleton is standing in, with this pentacle held aloft, it actually looks a bit like a weapon. Like, this is a woman who's pissed off. This is a person who is pissed off. And because it's a queen, it's receptive energy, which makes me think that you are the one who has been waiting for the communication right there, right, to resume. For some reason it's stopped, you want it to resume. This is in your recent past. Now, the other possibility is that it's someone else, maybe the stag that was in the background there, and it's this Queen of Pentacles ire that has caused the communication to stop and have you waiting for it to resume. Now, like I said, that's kind of recent parts, touching on present. In your present, you have temperance. I love this card. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. It looks like it's at the bottom of a well within a well, or a well underneath a lake or something. And although there's so much water depicted on the card, it's a fire card, which I've always found slightly odd about temperance. But it speaks of balance, and it speaks of learning to fill your own cup in order that you might be able to fill somebody else's. It talks about patience as well, just as the Hanged Man does. You know, the Hanged Man is willful, voluntary submission to an uncomfortable state in order to gain more knowledge. You have to be patient to do that. And this is a card of being patient in the present, right here. But it's also got a tremendous healing aspect to it, right? Whilst it's not as passive as the Hanged Man, it still feels like taking a step back from something, right? Taking a step back from something to find your peace again, to find your internal balance, to start filling your own cup up, you know? I always thought she was wearing a big dress, but actually she's a mermaid. Very watery energy. But it's funny because the other thing that the Queen of Pentacles can indicate to me, often quite indicates to me at least, is the notion of self-care. Like, of all the queens, she's the one who knows how to look after herself the best. And it's possible that this cessation in communication, this step back that you've been, needed to take, is because you sense that you were losing yourself in whatever this was, in whatever this communication was, and whatever the communication was communicating. There was an aspect of you that was neglecting your own needs off the back of it. But here you are in the present, taking a step back, balancing yourself. We've got a shitload of water here. You are a water sign. But there's a fire aspect to it as well. Balance, right there. And it's clarified by the Ten of Rings and the Eight of Wands. Now, the Ten of Rings, like I said, it's material fulfillment and stuff like that. It can talk of business. So, if you're a business owner, maybe things are going really, really well. It can talk of heritage and legacy and all that sort of things as well. And it talks of commitment, right? Because you don't get 10 pentacles just given to you. Well, sometimes you do, because sometimes it's an inheritance, but I don't feel like that's relevant for you here. This is the result of lots of hard work. That's what's caused the accumulation of these 10 pentacles for you. You have to be committed to a course of action or a person or, your business, all that kind of thing. You have to have that before you can get this. And there's a sense for me, whilst two of the rings, what have we got there? 3, 6, 8. Whilst two of the rings are in the centre and they one encapsulates the other. It's a concentric circle like that. There are all these other rings at the back, and I feel like there's these two rings here is this situation, right? But you have your tongues in a lot of fires. Like, you have a lot of balls up in the air. You have a lot of things that you're trying to keep balanced. And I think that you realised that those things were slipping and that you've needed to withdraw and bring attention back to yourself, focus back to yourself, in order that you might balance these. And they are balanced. They're, symmetrical and beautiful like that. But this, at the heart of the matter here, it's been taking your focus away from other things that needed your attention. And then we've got this Eight of Wands again, the same Eight of Wands. But it's structured very differently. Where this Eight of Wands was, there's a great deal of speed implied by that, and forceful direction, stuff like that. this is a much more harmonious depiction of it. And you see the ones are actually the branches, the things, and note how they've formed a really nice, shit, I've forgotten the name of the shape. Oh, well, it's a diamond that way up anyway, kind of like a long diamond, but like that way it's kind of squashed square. It's a far more stable shape though. That's the important thing. You've got the diamond of 4 of them there, and then you've got 4 laying across. This is much more structured and much more balanced right here. So it could be that was the situation as was, and there was a cessation in communication or whatever, and that communication has resumed, but it's resumed with you now, you being far more balanced about this, but the other things in your life that you were kind of letting slide because all of your focus was on that right in the middle, you know. And we can't be all about one thing. We need internal balance, we need external balance, we need the bills paid, you know, but we also need to eat right, we need to sleep, we need to exercise, you know, we need to take care of our own basic needs before we start putting our energy out into the universe. And that's what I feel like you've done, and that's really good. Like, the other thing this can indicate is like a new job. That's a thing. Yeah, new job, promotion. Yeah. And it's important to you. I see that it's important to you, but lots of other things are as well. They contribute to the overall, you know, thing that is your life right now. What you've got coming up in January is the Tower. Okay? And don't panic. This is magnificent energy, although it rarely feels like it at the time. When the Tower energy comes in, something that wasn't constructed properly, something that was built on faulty foundations, crumbles, right? One really fucking good lightning strike and the whole thing keels over. And unusually for a Tower card, this one's got like a veritable tidal wave of water deluging it as well. Now, this is important because like tarot is all about symbolism. And water is emotion, right? It's our feelings. When you've got this much water on a card in this kind of stormy condition, this is emotions running really, really high. It's quite the opposite to the water that's depicted there, right? That's an internal balancing of emotion. That's like, know where you're at, that's all good. This is a very sudden, shocking change in that right there. And the reason why I say that it's a good thing is because if you've got anything in your life that isn't built properly, at some point it can fall down. Well, at any point it can fall down. But if it falls down later down the road, it could be that it takes a lot more with it than just the top of the tower, right? There'll be other structures that you've built, you know, being supported by this that will come down as well. Often when it comes in, the universe has given you a number of opportunities to clear this yourself and you haven't, right? And then the Tower comes in and it fucks shit up, right? Could be a Scorpio in your midst, but I feel like it could be. I feel like it's more likely that it's a sudden shocking event that really makes you just go, shit, holy shit. But the thing is though, once these storm waters have receded, once the lightning's moved on and the skies have cleared and you're surveying the damage, what's going to be left is going to be lots of stone and you know, useful materials, useful resources. And you can take the lessons that were learned from this, whether this was built on faulty foundations or whether it was just not maintained properly while it was being, you know, after it was built. However it applies, you take the lessons that you learned from this storm, from this thing falling down, and you do it again better in future. Now, whether that means moving that, you know, into the woods, on top of a hill, away from the fucking sea, whatever, make it a bit shorter, make it a bit fatter. You get the idea, right? But whatever it takes wasn't for you in the first place. And in some way, whether you perceive it or not, it's been holding you back. And this is coming in the month of January for you. Now, the two cards that you've got to clarify here are the Ace of Cups and Justice. And I think this is really, really interesting because I've used this deck to clarify. Normally we see Justice and she's got a sword and she's got her scales and she's looking quite stern because she's got a binary notion of what's good and what's bad, fairness and unfairness, what is just and what is unjust. And it can talk about legal issues. I mean, that's a possibility. It could be that there's some sort of legal issue that you have to deal with that sparks off the Tower. But for me, Justice often talks about higher notions of justice. We're talking about natural justice, we're talking about universal stuff, source, all that kind of thing. And karma, quite often, because justice is a karmic card. What I like about this depiction, and why I'm interested that I picked this deck to clarify with over all the others that I have literally like 15 on the fucking table here right now, is that there are no scales in Justice's hands here, and there's no sword in Justice's hand, right? The sword's all about truth and integrity and honour and all that kind of thing, This Justice got a fucking mace, right? No scales. But inexplicably, because it's a skeleton and it's got no muscles or stuff like that, I feel like there's a sense of this person overseeing something from really up high, right? And going, this is exactly right, this is exactly how it should go. Everything is playing out. No doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. It's desiderata. I fucking love that, like, so much. So what is the Tower and Justice? What are they conspiring with? And it's this Ace of Cups, right? Like I said, new love, a renewal of love for someone, something, or yourself. It could be that this Tower situation makes you appreciate that although you've internally balanced yourself, it's still not right. Right? There's still things remaining that need to be looked at, and this ace is you going, do you know what, I'm worth so much more than this. That's possible. It's possible that it could be somebody coming in, and if it was a someone, it could quite possibly be a Libra or a Scorpio, offering you love or inspiring feelings of love in you. That's also possible, particularly if you've been distracted by someone over here who you thought you felt quite strongly for, and then this new person comes in, and fuck me, if it's a Scorpio, then that's the kind of it's the kind of feeling that they tend to induce when they, fire themselves into a room. Could be an admission of feelings from someone that you didn't anticipate. I swear, I think justice has come out for every reading that I've done for January. There's this real notion of paying off of karmic debts. I feel that really strongly. Karmic contracts coming to an end. And the bad luck and misfortune that has been plaguing people for years now, actually, just abruptly coming to an end. I'm going to use that word abruptly when you've got the Tower and a spread. That's the thing. Tell me about this Ace of Cups. Ooh. Fucking hell. Tell me about this Ace of Cups. going to take those. We've got a whole heap of majors that have just dropped out here. This is important. It's really important. You know, you've got a major arcana in the Tower, you've got major arcana in Justice, and then 3 of the 4 cards that have leapt out here are also major arcana. Right? So the first one is the Star. It's the card of hope. It's a card of trust. It's a card about not really knowing what direction you're going in, but having faith and following the star, right? Then we've got the Queen of Cups, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, male or female, doesn't matter. It's a really emotional, nurturing energy there, coming out under the Ace of Cups. And then we've got the Moon, which, as well as following on directly from the star, talks about things being hidden, things being obscured and confusing and baffling. It's also the card of Cancer. And then we've got the Chariot, which is also the card of Cancer, right there. Okay. All 4 of these came out under the Ace of Cups. Right? This feels like an admission of feelings from someone that you never dared hope felt the same way as you did. Right? Secret feelings, things that are bubbling away underneath. This really strong hope that's just working on faith that this star that you're following is going to take you to where you need to be. Queen of Cups, intense emotion. Holy shit, Cancer. Oh. And then another card of Cancer right there. Like, both of your cards have just come out like one after the other, right? There's something about this. And I'm going to interpret it both ways. So if this is about you understanding your self-worth suddenly and realising that whatever you've been enmeshed in is just fucking shit and you don't know why you put up with it for so long, like, that's going to hit like a tower, that realisation. That's not a slow creeping thing. That's a what the fuck, right? And that's a rebalancing of karma. That's justice and stuff like that coming into play there, because that's righting a situation that was wrong, right? And it's balance again, like temperance. So that's one way of seeing this, right? And in doing so, you find a situation that you never thought that you would be able to be in. You never dared dreamed that you would actually like yourself very much. That's possible. And that in doing so, it kind of unlocks you, you know, prizes off your little shell a little bit and allows you to be vulnerable, because the Queen of Cups is vulnerable, yeah. But makes you receptive to receiving those kind of things. And then you've got you, both cards of you striding forwards. There's movement on both of these cards. You know, whatever was obscured is now starting to clear, and you're moving forward strongly and decisively for you, governed by you, self-determination, self-governance, self-discipline, self-control, all of those things. But ultimately, most importantly, self, right? Not at the whim of somebody else. If this is an external person, then this is feelings being expressed by another person that you never dared hope for, that put you in a Queen of Cups kind of situation, you know, that stop you feeling so confused and allow you to move forward together. Now, you'll have to pick which way it resonates to you, because at this point, I don't know. If this was a personal reading, I'd be digging around a lot more in it, but it's not. It's a general reading, and it can't apply to everyone. Oh, fuck my life. Right, so just had a look at the shadow cards. Bottom of the main deck, said we had the Hierophant, which is the card of commitment, right there. Directly underneath it, we have the Nine of Cups. This is the wish fulfillment card, right there. Underneath it, we have the Star, again, right there. And then we have the Fool. Right? There's a new start coming in. And it's going to be delicious, and it's going to clear out an old cycle, actually. You're done with that now. You've moved beyond it. And Six of Wands, victory, directly underneath the Chariot, right? Moving forwards. I'm going to leave it there, Cancer, because it's just too fucking beautiful. If it resonated, I'd love it if you would like the video or leave me a comment, like whatever you like. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you did that too. But best of luck, and I will catch you in about a week or so for the January mid-months. Take care.